Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch the videos. I really appreciate it. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and talk about today. So before we dive into these topics, do me a big favor, hit the like button to help the video out and show it your support. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. The first topic talks about PlayStation VR2. I have an interesting article here from PlayStation Universe where they say the full Unity PSVR2 presentation from GDC 2022 is now available to view online. And while there's a lot to take away, it does hammer down just how much of a game changer the likes of eye tracking technology brings to the new headset. Sony hasn't announced a PSVR2 release date yet, but the format holder has revealed the design of the new headset, which it says is inspired by the PS5 family of products. So this is what we've continued to hear about PlayStation VR2 out of GDC. Once again, developers are impressed, and with this Unity video in particular, it is trying to emphasize the fact that the eye tracking within this headset is going to be a big difference maker. And I'm all for it. I'm certainly interested to see what they're going to be able to do. I continue to say this, but continuing to talk about PlayStation VR2, I have another article here from PlayStation Lifestyle where they say a showcase may happen soon as Sony is beginning to send out promotional emails. So they say it looks like Sony may actually be gearing up for that rumored PSVR2 showcase, as the company has been sending out promotional emails akin to those it sent out prior to the PS5's pre-launch showcase. That's according to trusty insider Tom Henderson, whose tweet was backed up by several followers who claim to have received the email as well. And Tom Henderson says Sony sent out a new email yesterday named Introducing PlayStation VR2. There was a similar email a couple of weeks prior to the PS5 launch too. It could indicate that there are plans for a PSVR2 showcase soon, as both Greg Miller and Jeff Grubb had heard. And so we still don't have official confirmation of this, but I have to say that this definitely does point in that direction, and it makes sense. I think if Sony wants to do a PSVR2 dedicated event maybe in April, and then they want to have a more, I guess you could say, PS5 centered game showcase in June, like we, all would expect to get at that time, to me, that would make sense. But, we are going to have to, as I say, remain patient and see if this is in fact what Sony plans to do. But it is true, this is exactly what Sony did right before they ended up having their showcase for the PlayStation 5. So let me know down in the comments below, do you think that Sony is getting ready to have a PlayStation VR-centered showcase in the coming weeks? But moving on from that, we're talking about the PlayStation Plus revamp. I have another article here, this time coming from Gaming Bolt, where it says the revamped PlayStation Plus is going to be different from its direct competitor Xbox Game Pass in a few key ways, chief among them being that Sony currently has no plans to launch first-party games on its service day and date, but with the two higher tiers collectively offering over 700 games to subscribers, there's still much to look forward to. There's still plenty of questions, of course, especially when it comes to the library. We know a few of the big names that'll be part of the PS Plus Extra lineup, while Sony has said that both Extra and Premium tiers are going to have games from every major publisher. But other than that, we really don't know much else. Recently, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan provided further assurances on the official PlayStation podcast, saying that the revamped PS Plus lineup is going to be very strong, and with over 200 publishers supposedly involved, it's going to have all the big games present. We have massive publisher participation in the program, Ryan said. We have all the big names present. We have big publishers, we have small indie publishers, we have over 200 partners working with us to put their content into PlayStation Plus, so the lineup is going to be really strong. And so I wanted to let you guys know about this because it is true, we still have yet to learn about all the different games and publishers that will be involved with this PlayStation Plus revamp, but based off of what Jim Ryan's saying here, it sounds like we can expect a lot. I mean, it sounds like pretty much, as he says here, everybody's going to be involved to some extent. I think at this point, the big question that people have with these classic games with the premium tier is whether or not they're going to have any type of visual improvements or performance improvements. I think people are expecting that to at least some extent. And so we're going to have to wait to see and get that official confirmation from Sony, but I hope they do improve these games at least a little bit. It would be, I think, pretty disheartening and disappointing to quite a few people if it's like you get to play these classic games and there's literally no improvements made whatsoever. I don't know that people would be all too excited about that. But the final topic I have for you guys talks about some updates we're hearing about Naughty Dog as well as Bend Studio. We're hearing about some of the projects that they're currently working on. I do have to give you forewarning. I do not know how reliable this source is. In fact, I don't know if they're reliable at all, but we have spoken about them before. And so it does remain to be seen if they are getting correct information here. It'll be either proven true or false over time, but nonetheless, what they're saying to me sounds interesting, and I figured I would just share it with you guys, and you can make of it what you will. This comes from the individual on Twitter that goes by the name Oops Leaks. I can't stand that name, but that's their name, and they don't really tweet out that often. But this time they're letting us know about Naughty Dog. And so they say on March 31st, Naughty Dog, The Last of Us online game, planned as a battle royale, but got completely rebooted, described as a mix of Tarkov and The Division with additional modes inspired by the original faction's multiplayer, single-player-like experience in an online game, free to play, first on PS5 with a further release on PC. He then goes on to say Naughty Dog new IP, next major single-player title, Neil Druckmann is not involved, fantasy setting, at least what it looks like, currently in full production. And then he just briefly mentions The Last of Us Part 3, citing official information that we've already heard that apparently The Last of Us Part 3, the story outline is pretty much finished. But the first two things he talks about here I think are very interesting, and the way he's describing the information he's received about this Last of Us multiplayer game, it sounds very believable to me because this is exactly what I'm expecting from this. I think a lot of people would be surprised if it was announced to be free to play, but I've talked about this before and I said that with the way Sony is pursuing live service, they're expecting their live service games, or hoping their live service games are not just somewhat successful, but incredibly successful. The only way they're going to be able to do that is if they make these games free to play. And so that wouldn't surprise me at all. They say it's going to release on PS5 first, and then it's going to release on PC. And I think it's interesting that they're saying it's going to be a single player-like experience in an online game. This sounds amazing to me. It really does. So I hope that this is actually what it ends up being. He talks about a new Naughty Dog IP. I feel like we've heard about this before, about how they were working on some type of fantasy setting game. It's interesting that he mentions Neil Druckmann's not involved. It's a single player title and it's in full production. So, I hope it's true. That would be pretty cool. I would definitely like to see what Naughty Dog could do with a setting like that and with a title like that. What I find interesting is that he makes no mention of a Last of Us remake, which definitely, that's a big question mark here for me, because that's definitely a thing they're working on. We heard that from multiple reliable sources. So, we'll see if he ends up mentioning anything about it. But then he gives us information on Bend Studio, and again, we have to take this with a pinch of salt, but man, this would be awesome if this turns out to be true. Apparently, Bend Studio is working on what is codenamed Project Propaganda, and it says here it is a spiritual successor to Siphon Filter. It's an open world stealth action game. It's a late Cold War setting. Think of an open world Hitman plus MGS5 with much denser locations. There will be online elements and co-op is planned. So yeah, he goes on to say here, I'm a little skeptical about this, but I've heard similar things from multiple sources. Development is in full swing despite the studio's frustration over the rejection of the Days Gone sequel. However, I would not expect this game to be released in the next couple of years. Basically just saying, it's still very early on, which we know that Bend officially confirmed they are working on a new AAA IP. And I mean, this to me does, again, it sounds believable. I don't know how true it is, but I guess what I will say is I hope this is true, because if this is what Bend Studio is working on, I know we talked about how, it's upsetting that we're not going to be getting a Days Gone 2, but if this is what they're developing instead, this sounds incredible to me. This sounds exactly like what I would want from Bend Studio. So here's hoping that this information is accurate and that this is truly what we're getting from them. But as I said, we're going to have to just temper our expectations, wait till we, officially see these projects revealed, and then we'll know whether or not this information is accurate. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, if you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.